Ryan, don't get ahead of yourself.
Oh, okay.
It's, there's a chance we may never get any merch.
True. We may never get merch, but I'm gonna
But we
towards
are
a bright future of merch.
We are stepping ahead into the future, though, because we recently got a YouTube comment from a nice man.
Yeah, somebody random just.
Yeah.
I saw that and it made my day.
Yeah, it made my day too, and that's all it takes, Like, I don't like. It seemed like it was a real person to me, and if you are real and you're listening right now, thanks, because I think we've only gotten like two or three comments before,
and one of them there's another comment, but it's clearly like a fake thing. It's
yeah,
like
it seems like a bot
thing. Yeah.
So, any real fans that are listening, just like, that's what the comments section's for. Like, if you like it, or even if you don't like it, you can say whatever, if you have any suggestions, because we definitely want to be the people also search for, not just Jacob and Ryan also search for.
Yeah, that would
Otherwise,
make
it
sense.
would be called Jarsif. Jacob and Ryan search for, and that just sounds like shit.
Terrible.
That's a fucking shitty name, Ryan.
Yeah, that's a bad name.
Why
for
would
a
you ever
podcast.
even suggest that?
Anyways,
if you're a fan that's listening out there, just drop us a little comment on the YouTube, or maybe on Apple Podcasts or Google. I don't know how you leave feedback, but whatever your preferred platform is for podcasts, say hi. And if you don't know how to do that, then just go to our YouTube channel and tell us to fuck off, or to keep up the good work.
Yeah.
Or tell us that our audio quality sucks.
Yeah,
whatever you want.
Tell us something to search for.
Yeah, that would be the best. At least the most helpful thing.
Yeah.
Because we want to search for what you search for, or what you want to be searched for.
We got to increase the SEO results to our searches.
Yeah.
And
one
we can
day
do that with your searches.
Yeah, and with the help of technology and a loyal fan base, we can get the phrase "you gotta have balls in this country" to the number one top search result, even past the book called "You Gotta Have Balls."
So you want to just have so you got the search for "you gotta," and then
no, if you search for our phrase "you gotta have balls in this country,"
really,
the first thing that comes up is this guy's book. He's like a sportsman.
Oh,
and he wrote a book.
We're not number one. Amazon's number one and number two. Amazon's number one.
You gotta
in
have
everything.
balls. The kid from Brooklyn or whatever. That's the guy's book.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
Wow, you gotta have balls. Jewish Book Council. Yep. Well, man, I think we're far away from getting our result to be the top.
Yeah.
So we're gonna need a lot more people to
We
search.
definitely need more help. Otherwise, it's gonna make me personally feel a little bit salty that our podcast isn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
Kind of salty, like how I felt this weekend when Ryan abandoned me.
What do you mean?
For his own selfish needs.
For my own selfish needs and getting heart surgery.
Hey, that wasn't this weekend, okay? This weekend you were recovering.
Yeah.
And we could have had a lot of stuff done.
You don't have to. You can still podcast when you're sitting there not being able to move. For only like a day. I mean, you could move. It was fine.
You just admitted on our podcast, people also search for that you had heart surgery.
That's true.
That seems like it's big news, Ryan.
Is it?
Yeah, maybe that one guy that left us the comment, he would be riveted by the fact that you had a health condition.
Yeah, and also still brought fantastic content to the masses during said heart condition.
Yeah. I feel bad I don't remember the guy's name, but he knows who he is. He's the only one.
Yeah, he's alone in a room yelling, and like he's the lone guy in the crowd that's yelling for like the opening band.
Yeah, I mean you gotta have that guy.
Yeah,
even if it's
we appreciate him. He's the start of everything. He's the one guy that starts it all. So from him, I survived the heart surgery. And it was great. It wasn't open heart surgery. It was minor, and they go in through your crotch, right? Yeah, they
Is
go
that
in
how-
through your crotch, and that's where your main arteries are, dude.
I know. And
Yeah.
your legs, they're big old tree trunks of a leg.
And the one thing I took away from it is that it proves that the way to a man's heart is through his crotch.
In a way, that's true.
Yeah. Yep.
You're being literal.
Yep. Exactly. But yeah, it was all fine. It was all good. Maybe I'll go into detail on it if we have a podcast where we're going to search for it. But interestingly enough, the way my heart is, since my blood pressure's low, I get to have more salt in my diet without any consequences. Because, a lot of people are like, you got to stay away from the salt. Everybody's...
Yeah, it's fine in moderation.
Yeah, but when your blood pressure is low, you can have additional salt, and it brings your blood pressure up to what normal. So it's like almost like magic in a way, because most people want more salt. I want more salt. I like salty pretzels. I like pretzels and cheese. But
yeah, I'm not really into salt. Like I don't really add salt to anything. I'll cook with it, but that's about it.
Really? So when you go out to restaurants, do you like the food at restaurants? Because usually it's a lot more salty than what you would cook at home. Or do you prefer more like a home-cooked meal with less salt?
Like if I had French fries that had too much salt, that is way, way, way worse than if they had no salt at all. Like if they had no salt, that's fine. I could just put ketchup on it. But when it has too much, it's fucked. And I also don't like those soft pretzels that has all the hard rock salt on it.
Really? You don't like that? Oh, I love that.
I usually brush most of it off because it's just like way too salty.
Sometimes there's like clusters on it.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
Also, olives. I don't like olives because they're too salty.
Like green olives or black olives? I like black olives. Green olives are a little eh.
They're both too salty for me.
Yeah, they are floating in a literal solution of salt, brine. Yeah, of salt. What is brine? What else would a brine have in it? It has salt, and what else?
Water.
What's in a brine? No, there's got to be other stuff in there. It's like
it depends what's
something.
in the. Well, I guess you could put garlic in it, but really you just need salt and water, right? And then you put in an ingredient.
Yeah. Basic brine for seafood, poultry. What kind of brine would we be using? What's the saltiest brine?
I guess it depends what you're pickling or whatever. I don't know if it's considered pickling. That would be vinegar. So, brining.
thesaltybrine.com. Whoa.
Don't forget, Ryan, if you read anything.
All right.
Welcome to People Also Search For, where last time Ryan lost very summarily trounced in a round of rock, paper, scissors and Rochambeau and Jean Campone. He lost all of them. He couldn't best me.
I lost the same game with different names multiple times.
Yeah, and the deal was that if whoever lost would have to, because we were talking at the end last time about the transatlantic accent where everyone makes themselves sound very, very important. And,
but you actually just sound like you're being a dingus.
Yeah, so now, since Ryan lost, anything he reads today, he's asked to do in that accent.
So I just cheated at the beginning because I wasn't thinking about it yet because the challenge hadn't been brought up. But now, whenever I bring up a website or...
Well, did you read anything already?
I read the name of the website.
Oh,
I didn't read...
Yeah, I'm talking about if we have to read a passage.
A passage. So it'd be like, Salty Brine is the New York-based actor, playwright, and cabaret artist.
Anyways, this is where we're going to find the answers to life's greatest questions, including what is the saltiest brine?
Yeah.
Which, no answer, Ryan. No answer.
There is not an answer. Earth's saltiest place makes the Dead Sea look... Whoa,
the most, succinct result we get is, does brining meat make it saltier? I wonder.
I wonder too. It probably does make it saltier. Does brining meat make it saltier? Some important advice regarding meat succulence. At 5. All right. So we've got a nice picture of a brine. It's just like a soup. It looks like a soup to me.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of herbs floating in there. But you've dissolved a lot of salt and also some sugar in a pot with other stuff because you bought a nice piece of meat and chicken and you're making brine. Is the finished product going to be saltier because you brined it? Nope. Brine saline content.
Celine. Like Celine Dion.
Yeah, brine saline Dion content has nothing to do with how salty the finished product will be. It's way more scientific than that. Salinity, which is...
You're going too slow, Ryan.
Which is if you're referring to Celine Dion in any way, type of show... Way.
You're not very transatlantic convincing right now.
So you're saying I need to double speed it?
You need to identify as a transatlantic speaker.
All right. I'm gonna try and speed it up. All right.
You're gonna what?
I'm gonna speed it up.
Yeah, but what else are you gonna do? You're gonna identify.
I'm gonna identify
as. Yep. Say all of it.
As a transatlantic speaker.
Yeah. Really strung together those words.
Yeah. We did. Depending on its strength, partially dissolves meat's muscle fiber, which makes it tough, making it tender. Ever learned in a high school science that salt keeps muscles from contracting? That's electrolytes or salt, which ionize in water. Good to replenish your system after a workout. Contract means tough meat and swollen muscles, but the salt that do it are only absorbed into the meat for a little while, and it brings out the natural flavor rather than seasoning it.
Oh, man.
That was a mouthful.
I feel like I'm going to want Ryan to read everything in this episode. Well, you almost read the whole article.
I did. Maybe you should give them the actual ending.
In addition, the softened meat is able to absorb some of the brine, adding about 10% more moisture to the pre-cooked product. While 20% or more of the meat's moisture can be lost in the cooking, the extra liquid retained by the meat, thanks to the brining, will help baste it internally. Help your beast stay juicy and flavorful. Not sure why they had to call it a beast.
You know what you have to do after that? You need to figure out which salt to use to finish your brine. I want to know which salt to use to go back.
Do you really?
I do.
Oh, too bad. Page not found.
Nobody knows what salt they use.
That's a disgusting picture. At the top, it's
You're
like.
Right.
Do this to clean earwax, and it's like tweezers pulling out a huge gob of earwax.
Earwax can cause hearing loss and memory loss. Try this simple fix to remove earwax. Sponsored by Earwax Co. All right. Yeah, no, that's just disgusting. I'm gonna get that off. Right now.
Yeah, let's get back to basics.
See, you try and look up brine, and you end up with the inside of a man's ear.
Yeah, let's get back to basics though, and just search for. What is salt?
Yeah, because we don't even know what it is. We know what it tastes like.
I know technically what it is. Potassium chloride, right?
We'll find out. Salt, food. Salt is a mineral consisting primarily of sodium chloride. You were right, Jacob. Nice. A chemical
compound. Wait, I said potassium chloride.
Oh, okay. Well,
that's a pretty bad fuck up, but I had chloride, right?
Is potassium chloride what's in bananas?
No, it's
just potassium.
It's some other type of compound.
Mm.
Search for potassium chloride real fast.
All right. Going from salt to potassium chloride. Wow.
Oh, it's a metal halide salt composed of potassium and chlorine. Oh, so it is salt too.
With chlorine in it? Ew. You don't want to get that in your mouth. Chlorine makes... Have you ever been in like a super chlorinated pool and you get out and your like skin just feels horrible all over? Like you're wrinkly, but it's also like...
And you could just smell it.
Yeah, you can smell it. You feel like you're covered in chemicals.
Yeah, that's why you usually shower after you swim.
Yeah. Everybody remember to shower after you swim. And then if you
swim in the ocean, then you
also known
smell
as
like
a salty
salt.
brine. Yeah.
Yeah. So back to salt, Ryan.
The ocean itself is a salty brine, dude.
Oh yeah, and there's lots of fish in there.
Yeah,
so
I bet if you cook
it's a
fish
fishy.
right out of
It's
there.
a fishy brine.
Yeah, it's like a giant fish stew where all the fish like aren't boiling so that they stay alive. Imagine if you boiled the entire ocean and it made a giant fish stew.
Yeah, that's essentially what it would do.
Yeah, it would, and then like that would pretty much destroy the earth because everywhere it would smell like dead fish, and it like the everything in the ocean dying up, we'd basically be screwed.
Yeah.
It would all be like poisoned and like infected.
Well, and I mean, you're
the
missing.
world would turn into like a bog.
Well, you're missing
man.
the biggest point that if it was hot enough for the ocean to be boiling, everything would be scorched and burnt. Like we would die before it even got that hot.
Imagine a world where we live in huts that are fire resistant, and the world was so hot that the entire but we were safe because we were inside of these huts.
I don't know.
And we go out, and the world is just this completely burned to a crisp chaos where there's just like it's slowly merging with the water that has now become like a grayish tone from all the mold and like dead carcasses of fish that have congealed in there.
Yeah, I mean, you're starting to sound like the Gorons, like world, like from Legend of Zelda, where it's like on fire and shit. Like,
Yeah.
you couldn't actually live there.
Yeah,
Unless
no, you would have
you're
like
a stone man, like what are they called? The Gorons? Yeah,
Yeah.
unless you were like made of stone.
But like imagine having to walk out in that world like out of like a hut that protected you from the fire that created it, and you just walk out and like have to live there for like 2 or 3 days before you eventually die. That would be a terrible time.
Yeah, of course it would.
You just like everything's dead so you can't eat, and then you're just there slowly dying of heat stroke and like hunger.
I mean, you could still eat.
Yeah, but how would you eat if everything's burned to a crisp and all the animals in the ocean have been dead and like...
No, you wouldn't live that long though.
You wouldn't live... You would. I'm saying walking out into that. So you're there in the moment.
Yeah, I don't see how you'd be alive though.
I'm not... It's a hypothetical, Jacob. I'm just saying, if you walked out into this...
So the hypothetical is, wouldn't that be bad? Yeah, it'd be bad, Ryan.
Yeah.
It'd be bad.
Okay. That's all I needed to know. And now I'm salty.
Yeah, so what is salt? We established it's sodium chloride. You already have the dang tab open, Ryan. You're forgetting how to search already.
I was hitting... Okay, well, the first one asked, what? We just discovered something. The images that come up on the right on Google, like the images with where it tells you what salt is, are different on two of the same exact search. And one of them brought up kosher salt, and the other one brought up just the history of salt. What is going on?
Well, I mean, it's a pretty basic thing.
Yeah, but...
So the search results are probably always changing.
It's a constant battle for the SEO results on salt. You never know which one's going to be first. You never know what pictures are going to come up. It's a battle over here. But what is this battle over?
A mineral consisting primarily of sodium chloride, a chemical compound belonging to a larger class of salt.
Oh, okay. That's what it is.
And its crystalline mineral... Its form as crystalline mineral is known as rock salt or halite. I hope that's how you say it.
Yeah.
It's present in vast quantities in seawater where it is the main mineral constituent.
Yep.
Like we were saying about the ocean.
Yeah, the ocean brine.
Before we started talking about an apocalyptic world where everything is on fire. A literal hellscape.
Sometimes that's where your mind goes when you're thinking about salt in a world without it. Like a world without salt would be terrible to me. I love it. It's so good.
Yeah. Well, you do need salt. You need salt in your body.
Yeah, and I'm thinking like we need to know like how many things use salt exactly. Everything has salt in it. Most things have salt in it. But like what is the primary use of salt or the most primary use? What should we search for?
I mostly think of salt that you use for food, and then salt that you use for the roads when it's icy.
What is salt used for? All right, so obviously, oh, here we go. Medical news today: salt uses, effects, and sources.
I really like how you read that title, that headline, Ryan.
Oh no! Hang on. reverse. Hang on.
What?
How much salt should a person eat?
There you go.
Everyone needs salt for fluid balance in muscles and nerve function, but too much salt is bad for us. We here. So how much do we need?
I'd hate to be,
Yeah.
too much of a nitpicky, but I believe you need a little bit more speed and a little bit higher pitched.
I don't know how much higher pitched I can go.
Ryan, I know you can
The
sing.
human body regulates how...
No, not that. Not a falsetto, just like...
The human body regulates... Oh, like...
Yeah.
Oh, God, this is going to hurt my voice.
Well, I just want it to be, as accurate as we can.
Okay, exactly. Okay.
We don't want to cheat the people out of, what they want to hear.
A transatlantic accent?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what all the people want to hear. The human wait. that was too high, I think. The human body regulates how much sodium it contains. Its levels are too high. We get thirsty and drink, and the kidneys speed up the process of getting rid of it. Too much sodium has been linked to kidney stones, high blood pressure, and cardiovascular disease. Too little sodium can lead to oh God, that's a hard word. Hyponatremia and symptoms of dizziness, confusion, muscle twitches, and seizures.
Ooh.
Most Americans consume too much salt and sodium due to the high intake of processed restaurants and convenient foods. How far should we go in our cutting out salt? What we know is that salt is really sodium chloride. We've learned that before on this podcast. It's 40% sodium, and the rest is chlorine.
Chlorine.
Yeah. There's some...
Fast facts about salt.
Yeah.
The body needs salt, but too much or too little can cause problems, as we were saying before. Moderation, Ryan.
Yeah.
Moderation. Sodium makes up 40% of salt. If a food label lists sodium instead of salt, multiply the answer by 2.5 for an accurate picture of the salt content. Most Americans taking too much salt, blah, 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 75%, blah, 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 processed bag, blah. Excuse me, American Heart Association.
Good job giving them the information there, Jacob. Really thorough.
Recommend a maximum intake of no more than 2.3 grams or 2,300 milligrams of sodium a day, or around 1 teaspoon, and preferably no more than 1,500 milligrams.
Whoa, you're only supposed to have around 1 teaspoon of salt a day?
Yeah, it's kind of a lot, though.
Well, like added salt, but there's already salt in things, and I feel like that's...
but why would you need more than that?
Because I like
unless
trail mix and like...
Well, yeah, if you eat a bunch of...
Pub mix.
If you eat salty snacks, like, you might be getting a little bit more, but it's probably not so much that it's killing you.
What if you're just eating a bag of salt?
Oh, then you would die because it would dry up all the fucking liquid in your body.
Yeah. What's your favorite candy bar? I prefer the Salt Lick. Can you imagine like somebody like sitting at a bus stop and they're just like, they have like a Salt Lick in their hand and they start unpeeling its wrapper like a banana and like just start like gnawing at this salt stick.
What is the Salt Lick for? Like what do you even use that for? I've heard
it's like
the word.
for horses.
Oh, okay.
It's like a snack for horses.
I thought that was like a joke thing.
No. What's a Salt Lick? We're pinballing all over the place over here. Salt Lick. A place where animals go to lick salt from the ground. Oh, so that's kind of interesting. Like, there's actually like a place where there's salt naturally in nature.
Yeah, so it's like a geological feature.
Yeah, so I guess animals go there and do it. I thought a salt lick was like a thing you put up at like a horse stable.
Well, there probably are like manufactured ones.
What is a salt lick for horses? I want to look up. Oh, yeah, these things.
Yeah. It's just like a block of like natural salt on a rope.
Yeah. And I know that horses like to lick it. How do you give a... Oh, people also ask, how do you give a horse a salt lick? How do you give a moose a muffin? How do you give a horse a salt lick? Be aware.
Nope.
Oh, no. Jacob's been shaking his head this whole time because I've been, like, reading... I didn't read People Also Ask. Well, how do you give a horse a salt lick? Well, I'll tell you. 2 methods for making a salt lick block. Well, number 1, you got to be aware of the possible issues with a salt block. Number 2, you got to make the salt block. All right, just make it. And then number 3, you got to pour 14 pounds of salt, 3.5 pounds of bone metal, 1.3 pound lime, and 3.5 pounds of clay in a large bowl or tub. Number 4, you got to remove the excess water from the mixture. And number 5, you got to use your hands to mold the mixture into blocks.
So that's on a WikiHow.
Yeah, so that's how you make a salt block if you really want to. I don't think many people would do that as their hobby. There's a lot better things you could be doing with your time, like listening to the People Also Search For a podcast. But I should have read that. That was me. It said that on the website.
Yeah, I think it's like abbreviated on the Google result.
Mm-hmm. So we learned about the uses of salt. Oh, but we didn't learn about the effects of salt. Should we tell them what salt does?
Yeah, I mean,
it does a lot of things to your body. It can do many things to your body. I wonder how much salt is in the body, but we can check that later.
Yeah, it says
I'm just trying to avoid having to read at all costs.
Oh yeah, obviously, but some of it, you know.
Some of it I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, I mean, really, I wanted to just kind of read only a little bit, but you know, I'll read some stuff.
I just need a break. At times, I will read, but they can't handle too much of that at once.
Oh, is that right?
Please, just be on my side for this one time.
I'll try, but it's not going to be easy.
You can do it.
Other causes of low sodium in the body include Addison disease, a blockage in the small intestine, diarrhea and vomiting, an underactive thyroid, heart failure, drinking too much water, burns.
Yeah, so like
I like it's just burns. Like it doesn't say like what kind of burns. Like it's just burns. Like what?
Yeah, that's crazy.
If sodium levels fall in the blood, this affects brain activity. Person may feel sluggish and lethargic. They may experience muscle twitches followed by seizures and a loss of consciousness, coma, and death. If sodium levels fall quickly, this may happen very fast. So, yeah, I mean, you sometimes...
Breaking news. In older people, the symptoms can be severe.
Sometimes people get, like, some of those symptoms, and they're just like, oh, I feel like shit. And it's like, they don't know why. It's like, it could be as simple as they just have too little salt. And then also it could be like a blood sugar thing, which is like a similar problem. But it's like, hey, maybe it's because you like don't have any food in your body and you're like passing out because you don't have any nutrients. Like, at least take a fucking vitamin or something at the beginning of the day.
You got to take it from me. Not having enough nutrients is a horrible, horrible feeling.
And then what happens if you have too much salt, Ryan?
Well, too much salt. Excess sodium intake has been linked to health problems such as osteoporosis, kidney disease, and hypertension, or high blood pressure, which can lead to cardiovascular
Delease nuts. Got it.
It can lead to cardiovascular disease and stroke.
Disease nuts.
Those are things you don't want. You don't want a stroke in your daily life for sure.
Well, no, I mean, you know, that's why you don't have to eat a bag of salt or a salt lick.
But if you have too low salt, you go ahead and eat that salt lick. The American Heart Association, AHA, explained that when there's too much sodium in the blood, it pulls more water into the bloodstream. As a result, the volume of blood pressure increases. The heart has to work harder to pump it around the body. In time, this can stretch walls of the blood vessels, making them more susceptible to damage. We don't. Okay, so we don't want damage. Basically, you have too much salt, and there's gonna be a ton of damage to your body.
Oh yeah.
I wonder if having too much salt or too little salt is worse for you. I would guess too little salt, because if you have no salt, you're just done. But if you have too much salt, it just like increases your blood pressure, which can cause you to have a heart attack. But I feel like,
yeah, I mean, I think you would know if you are like dying of too much salt.
yeah, and you could just intake less salt. But like if your salt's too low and you have no control over it,
Yeah, then you might just pass out.
yeah,
And then you might die.
yeah, and if you pass out, you're not going to be able to get more salt into you,
No.
at least by yourself. And how are they going to know that that's what you're passed out from, unless they have you hooked up to some kind of like weird hospital machine?
True.
I don't know exactly, an EKG or something. Oh, there's a lot of sources that you can find salt.
Oh, you
And-
didn't want to read the rest of that?
Did you want me to?
Oh, you don't have to. I just, the people might want to hear it.
Oh, okay. Fine. Then. And I'll read it at super speed for everybody who wants to hear the conclusion of
Too
too
much
much
salt.
salt. I'm going to start right here.
Too many salts.
What?
Too
In-
many.
Too many salts. Too many salts. But, yeah. Like we learned before about the AHA. The AHA urged people to consume potassium at the same time as reducing their sodium intake. Potassium is believed to lessen the negative effects of sodium. Sodium has been shown to overstimulate the immune system, suggesting a link with autoimmune disease such as lupus, multiple sclerosis, allergies, and conditions.
Oh, and conditions.
Not the conditions.
Too many conditions.
There's too many conditions in here. The researchers have found a bunch of conditions in children who consume salty food and more likely to have surgery drink with it. Oh, a sugary drink with it. Not a surgery. You don't want to have surgery with your drinks. The combination could increase in... Oh no, a risk of obesity. That's what comes next.
First comes love, then comes marriage, then comes a baby and obesity. I heard this stat that in like 5 years, more than 50% of America will be obese.
Whoa, in 5 years?
Yeah, in like 2023 or some shit. I don't know if it's 3 or 5 years.
Probably
but-
because salt's so good. And you
No,
can't
well,
just deny it.
not from salt necessarily, but just because everyone's fat as fuck,
Yeah,
including me.
Well, you gotta think.
Well,
like,
I'm not fat as fuck. I'm just fat.
Yeah, you're fat and fuck, not as fuck.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. That just means you're cool.
I guess.
It does. You're a real cool boy.
Yeah. Anyways, like you were trying to say before, there's lots of sources for salt. We probably know what a lot of those are.
Yeah, the picture
Snacks
is a lot
mostly.
of things that I've eaten and or recognize.
Yeah, it's pretty much all straight up just dry snacks that are, yummy and delicious.
I'm gonna say there's one thing in this photograph that concerns me. In the bottom right-hand corner, those look like puffs, like cheesy Poof puffs.
I think those are
But
peanuts.
But they don't have any. Do you think that these are peanuts? It looks like cheesy Poofs.
I
without
thought
any
they were,
cheese
at
on them.
first glance, I thought they were peanuts, like shelled peanuts.
Yeah, no, it's like a bowl of cheesy Poofs with no cheese on it. But I was thinking, like, what is that? Is it like a salty Poof? Like that's
Salty Poof.
Yeah, I don't want a salty Poof. That sounds gross. Do you think that would be good? Like a salt flavored Poof?
I don't know. I think they're peanuts.
No, I'm just saying, if they are salty Poofs, I'm gonna type. I need to know. What's a salty Poof?
Oh, that sounds disgusting.
Thank you. Oh, okay. Man, see, all we have is what does salty mean? That's not what that's not what a salty Poof is.
Maybe because it's not a real thing that you just made up out of nowhere.
I didn't. It was based on the picture that we found. That's just what this looks like to me. And it sounds like, if that existed, do you think that would be good? Like, just
No,
like,
I already said that sounds fucking disgusting.
yeah, I think I could eat it, but I don't think it would be good. Because, like, you can have a plain, like, potato and salt, like, Lay's potato chip original flavor. But you can't have an original flavor cheesy Poof. There's only one flavor of Poof.
Oh yeah, cheese, because it's like a cheese puff.
Yeah, but yeah, there's no one else should be puffed.
This is a little bit different than I would expect, but it says the top 6 salty foods in the United States, according to the HAA, are breads and rolls, cold cuts and cured meats, pizza, soup, sandwiches, and poultry. Which it's funny to me that they put sandwiches on there, since the first 2 are bread and rolls and then cold cuts and cured meats. That's like a sandwich. Like, that's what. Yeah. And then they had to put sandwiches on there as well. Like,
it's literally just it's number 5 is a combination of number 1 and 2.
It's like, way to go, AHA. Like, there, you don't even have like chips on there at all or anything, like on the main 6 salty foods. Like, why, if that's a main,
the whole picture is like snacks and chips.
Yeah, there's no meat and pizza and soup in that picture. Like, you know, well, I mean, the picture's just from Medical News Today, that the website we're on. So, you know, they're the one that fucked up with the image, but still, the top 6 salty foods is a little,
from the AHA.
That's definitely
official. That's
definitely a lot different than I would have expected.
And the order makes no sense too, because the first one is breads and rolls, but the other one is the 6th one is sandwiches. But then when you like combine, like, sandwiches, you would think would be first then, because it has bread or a roll and cold cuts and cured meat, and it has cheese in it too a lot of the time. Like, there's way more salt in a sandwich than there is in just bread and rolls or just cold cuts and cured meat. But those both come before it on the list.
I don't know. Maybe they've just fucked up. I don't know. It seems weird, but it also seems weird that the 6th one is poultry.
Man, if they think that's salty, it's like, they should see what a salty Poof can do to your mouth.
Poultry is more salty than, like soup, I get. Everyone knows there's a shit ton of salt
especially
in soup.
Like canned, like Campbell's soup. Like, it's...
Yeah.
That's what it's like one of the most salty things you can get.
Like, if soup was the first one on the list, I'd be like, oh, okay. And then number 6 being poultry, like, what the... I never knew that, like, that it was even a salty, like, meat in general.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I didn't think chicken, I mean, if you add salt to it when you cook it, but is it naturally salty?
I don't know, you can look for it. Is poultry naturally salty?
Is poultry naturally salty? Is poultry...
Is poultry nurture served? Wow, that was a fucked up one. Is poultry naturally served? That's fucked. There's our next meme, Ryan.
Is poultry naturally salty?
You gotta get on that one.
Is poultry naturally salty?
That's right, everyone. We're bringing back Gersberm's meme.
Just for one time only. Nah, probably not.
Do it anyway.
Yeah. Just start talking like that in your daily lives, especially when you're ordering at a fast food restaurant. They'll love it.
I've definitely, like, did the Gersberm's voice, like, in the privacy of my own home before, just, like, talking. Like, it is pretty funny. Like, if you try to talk like that all the time, like, eventually you'll come across a phrase that's really funny. Like,
oh, like you're just saying things like you would normally say all day, but like that.
Yeah, and then you'll come across one that, like, we just typed. Is poultry naturally salty?
Is poultry naturally salty? Well, we've got the answers here, because people also ask,
what are the answers?
Is chicken naturally salty? Oh, we found the answers, Jacob. Raw chicken breast can contain as little as 50 to 75 milligrams of sodium per 4-ounce serving. But much of the chicken on the market in the U.S. is enhanced, injected with salt solution or broth during processing.
Whoa. I did not know. Oh my god, the next thing, or maybe this is where it came from. The hidden salt in chicken from the Los Angeles Times. Man, that sounds so, like, conspiratorial. One of these fucking things. where you can't look at the article unless you're subscribed because it's like a big publication. Well, sorry if anyone wants to read that article, you have to go subscribe to the fucking LA Times.
Yeah.
But that's fine. We got plenty of other stuff
we
can search for.
Not quite as classy, but almost as good. The hidden sodium in chicken. I mean, it's pretty much the same as the hidden salt.
I mean, we
chicken.
already established that there's salt that is injected in the poultry.
True.
We don't need to read a whole article. Unless you want to, Ryan. You can read the whole article.
I don't know if I want to, Jacob. In fact, I probably don't want to. Because I know... where's salt hiding besides in chicken?
You know, I was just going to bring that up.
Yeah. It's got to be
one
hiding
time
in a lot of weird places.
I watched an interesting documentary. It might have been like... I don't know, some like generic like the Earth series or some shit on History Channel, like you know, some basic like geology or like science program, and they were talking about salt and how a lot of it comes from at least in the U.S. a lot of it comes from underneath Lake Erie. Like there's like
really?
giant like salt mine underneath Lake Erie. And you can look at pictures of it. But, yeah, a lot of salt in the U.S. comes from
right here
lakes.
in Ohio.
Well, it's not in Ohio.
It touches Ohio, though.
It's above Ohio. And
so some of our salt's coming from us.
And also slightly above, like, Illinois and next to Michigan.
Lake Erie salt mines?
Oh, yeah.
Ooh. Wow.
You're just ooh, wow, and then silence.
It's because I'm scared to like have to read things. I'm scared.
About 2,000 feet under Lake Erie, 30 miles east of Cleveland and Fairport Harbor, Ohio, you'll find a vast site called the Morton's Salt Mine. Since 1959, the Fairport Harbor Morton Salt Mine has been mining for rock salt, most commonly used to melt snow and ice on the roads. All right, that's...
Oh, so it's not the salt you eat, it's mostly...
No, but I mean, I'm sure some of, like, they might process some of that to be used as table salt.
Yeah. Ooh. People also
Well,
ask...
and it's the Morton salt mine. That's like Morton salt.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never even thought about that.
Yeah, they're just salty all the way around.
It's their main export. But people also ask, how deep is the Lake Erie salt mine? And Lake Erie is the shallowest of the Great Lakes with a depth of about 56 feet near Cleveland. The salt mine lies about 1,800 feet, and it's under the lake.
Yeah, I said that when I read about 2,000 feet under Lake Erie.
Yep.
But, you know, I know how you like to reiterate and try out your fun accent.
Yeah, I like to talk in my fun accent.
Also, people also ask, where is the largest salt mine in the United States? Western New York and Central New York, location of American rock salt. The largest operating salt mine in the United States with a capacity of producing up to 18,000 tons each day.
Why would we need that much salt? Do we really use that much salt?
Well, yeah, I mean, especially like in the wintertime when a ton of it's getting dumped across all the roads in the country.
I wonder when that salt is dissolved and like is transported via I would guess like rainwaters. Like the salt that gets thrown all over the place, like, and it just goes away. Like, I wonder if that ever returns to those mines. Like, there's some way that the salt is like.
I mean, it just goes into the earth. It just goes into the earth. Like,
yeah,
it's like a negligible amount compared to like what you would find in an actual like salt deposit or like a salt mine.
I was just wondering, like, how do the salt mines replenish salt? Like, does salt grow there, or is it just like it's just a finite amount?
I mean, it's
salt?
It's a mine. Like, you mine all of it that there is. Like, I'm sure it expands. Like, I'm sure it's like a huge expanse of like salt deposits.
But eventually, like, it's gonna run out of salt.
I mean, potentially, but there's other places that you can get salt in the world. Like I'm sure there's like hundreds of mines.
Probably. I just want to see what the salt mine looks like on the inside. Oh. Well, this looks kind of cool. Like, this is what I would expect it to look like mountains of snow. Like, the salt looks like mountains of snow all in, like, a rock formation. It's like something you would, like a skier's dream, you know?
Not really. It's in a warehouse. Well, it's not a warehouse. It's underground, but...
Yeah, but like a skier would have a good time like skiing down this. It looks like
it's
the
not
Alps or something.
Yeah, well, no, it's not
salt.
It's not a mountain though.
Yeah,
it's a hill. I don't know if you can really ski on that very much.
Yeah, but it's like a half pipe. I mean, you could do some skiing tricks on that.
I don't know.
I'm just describing like if you took just a section of this and like photoshopped it out, like cropped it out, or like keyed out the background, and you put it like up in the mountains and put like fog around it, it would look like a mountain, like you could snowboard down or ski down.
I guess.
Yeah, I'm just seeing it as a mountain. That's what a salt mine looks like.
Specific picture
in a cave.
Sure. I mean that specific picture. I mean that picture. It's all like being taken out in like blocks, like it's a geometric like Adobe.
Yeah.
Like village.
I feel like this is not as accurate. This looks more like Minecraft. Like, I don't think people mine things in blocks like that.
It looks like they did in that picture. That picture looks like it was done with like a CNC machine.
Yeah, if they probably had some kind of truck that like
that
automatically drills out the salt and collects it.
Yeah, which that's pretty sweet too.
And this is very interesting. I don't think this is an actual salt mine. I think this is a diorama that somebody's made to fool us.
I mean, you can go back, like, look at the pictures of the Lake Erie, like, Morton salt mine.
Yeah, I want to see what that one specifically looks like, since that one's, like, very close to us.
Martin salt.
Yeah, Martin salt mine. Is this it?
It's Morton salt. That's why no results came up.
Well, you know, maybe his brother Marty, you know, also has a salt mine. Martin's. So Morton's salt mine.
There's even a YouTube video of it that says Ohio's salt mine.
Whoa. Storm Team 4 was there.
Dang.
I mean... If nobody knows, that's like the #1 team in the Navy SEALs.
It looks pretty cool down there. You know, I think it would be fun. You know, we should go work in the salt mine.
I feel like you and I walking into a salt mine would be like Zoolander in the mine where we...
maybe not that bad.
You don't think? Like, we would go in with like our sleeves cut off with like a big pickaxe, like... And have everybody's working for the weekend playing in the background.
Maybe.
I would be walking in like that. You have, except we have like, instead of having like the Indian paint like lines on our face, we have a PASF on there.
I don't know why you would do that, but you know,
so we can represent the podcast.
It's your prerogative. Well, you don't do that now, so I don't. You know,
but if I was a salt miner, I would do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you know the guys down there need something to listen to.
I guess.
I wonder how much a salt miner makes. How much are we paying these people to give us salt? Go.
I don't know if it pays good, then I might have to move up to Cleveland and work there instead of where I work now.
I wonder if Cleveland has a salt mine like facility where they send people into the underside of Lake Erie to collect the salt for the town.
I'm sure they do. It's actually not that much more than I make, so it wouldn't really be worth going up to Cleveland.
According to the resource, in 2011, the average median hourly wage for salt miners was $17.82 and $22.16 for hard rock miners. These figures indicate annual median salaries between $37,060 and $44,010, which just between the statistics related to miners, in general, the extraction workers and helpers. So yeah, they're not doing too grand. I mean that's pretty average. It's not a bad wage. You can do pretty good work on that, depending on where you live. Now, if you're that's probably like really low if you're living in like a big city like New York. Or LA.
Plus that says an average, so
yeah. But I don't think there's many salt rock miners in LA or New York, so probably not the most common job.
It said the largest salt mine is in New York.
Yeah, but I mean like in New York City. Like
obviously not, but
yeah, and New York is expensive to live in. Oh, there's a list of salt mines in the United States. I bet they're all just one salt mine and they connect in the middle, like in the middle of the earth. Like the salt mines are like the veins of the earth with the salt running through it.
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, because there's salt all through the ocean, so I'm sure there's salt like under the floor of the ocean. But
yeah, and the mines are like sucking it into the ocean and out and pumping it through the earth, like the earth is like beating like a heart,
Sure.
Yeah, and it's the earth.
I'm sure
alive.
That's exactly how it works.
Except it's happening really slow, which is why salt mines like we're like literally cleaning out like the salt transfer system of the earth when we take the salt out of these mines. I'm making up an entire new lore of how the earth works. Flat earthers need to watch out. We're going to need a whole Ryan's explanation of the earth Wikipedia page at some point. I'm figuring out stuff.
The whole explanation of the earth on Wikipedia.
We are very scientifically discovering out how the earth works here on this podcast. I can tell you that right now.
Totally.
But yeah, I do want to know how many there are, but we can at least look at what the top 10 are. I wonder if you can like just visit these salt mines as like a tourist attraction.
Maybe.
This first one looks like it would be cool to visit and see.
The Cathedral of Salt.
Yeah,
that one.
The Cathedral of Salt in Colombia. It just looks like a tourist attraction. It doesn't look like you would go in there to work. Like it's too artistically sculpted,
It says it was carved out of an active salt mine in 1950, so I don't know if it's an active one anymore. It probably is just it's probably just an exhibit now.
Yeah. And I mean, most of these look like this looks like an exhibit. This looks like an exhibit. This does not look like an exhibit. You don't want to go here. We got I'm going to try my hardest. Wieliczka salt mine in Poland.
I feel like it might be more like
Wieliczka
Wieliczka, maybe.
I like Wieliczka because it's like Wieliczka salt.
There was one called Ass Salt Mine.
Ass?
Yeah, like a few up.
It's right.
It says ass with an E at the end.
Ass salt mine in Germany. Yeah, these are some unfortunate names.
Dankali.
Wait, what? Dankali, yeah.
And Ethiopia.
That must be the dankest
Ethiopia
one.
had many sons.
And many sons had Ethiopia. I love that tune, man.
I love that tune.
I like the melody of that. It's just a good song. But,
And it's about Abraham, so there you go.
Yeah. I mean, many sons had Father Abraham. We all know it.
This one's the Kura in Pakistan, and it says they turn out 325,000 tons of salt every year. Its lifetime is estimated to be 220 million tons, and that isn't even a dent into the salt that's stored there.
Whoa!
It's estimated to be 6.687 billion tons, 748 feet deep with 11 stories. The mine is filled with tunnels that run nearly half a mile into the mountain. Only 50% of what is mined is taken out. The other 50 is used as support columns in the enormous mine. So just from that one alone, it seems like we're not going to run out of salt anytime soon.
There's like enough salt there where you could drown in salt. Like your entire body could get covered in salt and you would never be found.
Well, yeah, it's billions of tons.
And you would be very preserved.
I mean, a ton, like 2 tons is typically what people say of like the weight of a car is. That's 1 ton. So if you imagine 220 million tons or over 6 billion tons for the whole thing, like,
I wonder how much Campbell's soup you could make with that. Probably like a good amount of their stock.
Yeah, I'm sure they could make all of it, but I'm sure it just goes to. And also, I think that's the largest mine in the largest salt mine in the world. Oh no, it says the second largest, and the Canadian one is the largest, I guess. The Sifto.
But it's not as high up on the list of the best though. So I suppose that
this is largest salt mines in the world, and number 1 is Sifto Salt Mine in Ontario.
Okay, so Sifto Salt Mine in Ontario is the granddaddy of the salt
And
mines.
it says the salt was once deposited 400 million years ago by an ocean that covered the Great Lakes Basin. So, it used to be an ocean, and then like eventually the oceans like spread out, and the land contained what is now the Great Lakes.
Yeah.
That's why all that salt's down there.
Wow. I have one more thing that I need to know about salt, and it's like, because we've found multiple kinds of salt, but I want to know what the difference between like rock salt that you would use outside is to like salt you would eat or put in food. Is it just the size, or is it actually like the type of salt?
Is it this between rock salt and...
Yeah, like the salt that they use to throw outside, is it like, what makes that different from like salt that you would put in food or prepare?
Well, because like table salt has chlorine in it, which is what we learned. Well, I guess all salt has chlorine in it, but then also there's iodized salt, which is what we put on food mostly. There's kosher salt and iodized salt.
What if you tried to cook with rock salt, though? Oh, yeah. Rock salt and table salt are both salts, and they both consist mostly of sodium chloride. The most obvious difference between them, the two, is that the rock salt consists of larger grains than table salt, which is usually finely ground. So they're not that different. You could use rock salt to like cook with.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's how like salt just starts as like a rock, and then like
so the stuff that I put on my porch, I could take that and cook a meal with.
I mean, technically you probably wouldn't, it's probably like dirty and stuff, like it's probably unprocessed, because it's just in its rock form.
Oh, yeah, it's just chips of rock that have come straight from a mine.
Oh, yeah. It's not processed like table salt is.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's not clean. It never looks clean. Oh, man. Were you a fan of rock candy when you were a kid?
It's fine.
I always looked forward to it whenever I saw it, because it's not everywhere. Like, you only see it at certain stores. And when you do see it, I always get excited because it's like the best of those obscure candies, like that they only have like sometimes like Bit-O honey and that kind of crap. Like,
yeah, like the old school candies.
Yeah, it's, in my opinion, it's like the best of the old school candies, and it looks like rock salt on a stick, but
yeah, except it's colored.
It's colored, and it's basically just pure rock, like sugar, like crystal sugar.
It is.
Mm-hmm. And I just feel like that's a classic candy that everybody. It's so classic. It's so simple. Probably, like, how do they make that?
I don't know, but not with salt.
You're right. But it sure looks like salt. I'm just reminiscing to the old times about my childhood and seeing the candies.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Loved and enjoyed.
You know what I was thinking of, though?
What were you thinking of?
Since we have what's the difference between... Let's go, what's the difference between kosher salt and iodized salt?
Where's that at?
You gotta search for it.
Oh.
It is called People Also Search For, Ryan.
I forgot that we searched for things on this podcast. Okay, what's the difference between kosher salt and iodized salt?
Just in case the people were wondering.
From healthline.com. The main difference between regular salt and kosher salt: the structure of the flakes. The chefs find that the kosher salt, that went into a weird place. Due to its large flake size, is easier to pick up with your fingers and spread over food. However, kosher salt is likely to contain additives like anti-caking agents and iodine. Oh. So, kosher salt has large flakes.
Yeah.
But it contains additives. So, the additives make the flakes larger, I guess.
Yeah.
And it allows them to have bigger chunks of salt. So it's a little less, maybe a little less processed, or a little more processed. A little more processed.
Mm-hmm.
They got to process it a little more, because if you're keeping kosher, you got to have kosher salt.
I didn't really know what the difference was. One of the people also asked questions is, what's special about kosher salt? And then one is, what salt is better, iodized or not?
Because kosher people need to keep kosher by
Kosher
being blessed by a rabbi.
Kosher salt is often recommended by TV chefs because it has a less intense and more pure salty taste. And because it's easier to pick up the crystals and toss them into the pot.
I wonder if that's the kind of salt that one guy that like tossed salt onto his elbow and dropped it onto like
Salt Bay.
Yeah, Salt Bay.
I think that's like rock salt.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's crushed, but it's still like little rock salt.
Yeah, but still probably not the kind that is used on your driveway. It's probably like a filtered rock salt.
Yeah, it says, by the way, kosher salt is called so because of its role in the process for preparing foods such as meats according to the Jewish tradition.
Yeah, it needs to be blessed by a rabbi before leaving the processing plant. That's usually what kosher things are. They need to be blessed.
And
So
it's holy salt.
And I think like certain of them need to be a certain level of quality. Like I feel like if you get a Hebrew National kosher hot dog, it's way better than just like a regular like beef, like pork and beef, or like whatever's thrown in there, pork hot dog. The Hebrew Nationals are amazing, dude.
Yeah, they're pretty good. But
pretty salty.
I don't know. I think all processed meat is salty.
Yeah, and I love it for
that's its nature. But we've searched for a lot of things about salt. So is there any last final searches that we didn't think of? Like we started at the fundamentals of like what is salt, and then like where do we find salt, and you know what do we use it for,
and what makes you salty.
Yeah, I mean, did we cover all the salt-based topics?
Could there be another topic that has to do with salt? Jacob, we didn't talk about the salt that comes from your body.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about how there's salt in your body, but
how does it come out? I don't know if this is what we want. We want to healthline.com. Why is sweat salty? Can I sweat too much or too little? And yes, I think sweating is the main way that salt comes out of your body.
Me too.
So we could find out.
Why is sweat salty?
Sweat is mostly... I know you want me to read this because it's right at the end. Why is sweat salty? Well, I'm going to tell you why sweat is salty. Sweat is mostly water that your body produces to cool down. The kind of sweat is produced by the eccrine glands, located largely around your armpits, foreheads, the soles of your feet, and the palms of your hands. Wow. Okay, so it's because there's eccrine glands. And within watery eccrine sweat fluids are numerous other components, including sodium Na, proteins, urea, ammonia. You don't want to have urea in your salt, because that would mean that you're eating pee.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Well, it does say the waste product is made by your liver when it processes protein.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like pee. It's released in sweat to keep it from building up to toxic levels.
Yeah.
So that's essentially like when you sweat out like fucking booze, or like a bunch of, like if you ate a bunch of onions or garlic or something, like it comes out in your sweat. It's fucking nasty.
Yeah. Now, like, your sweat doesn't taste and or smell like urine, but there is urea in it. But imagine, like,
well, urea is not the same thing as urine, though.
Yeah, but it's in there. I don't know what makes urine smell. But imagine if your sweat smelled like that, how embarrassing it would be to work out. The gym would smell like cat pee.
I mean, the gym already doesn't smell great.
Yeah, but if it was filled with urea and ammonia, it would smell even worse.
That's the stuff that's in your eccrine gland, which is where your sweat comes from. So technically, that is what the gym smells like.
Yeah, but like, if it was more intense, like your sweat smelled like it had that much in there where it smelled of pee, the gym would be even a worse experience. Any sweaty place would. The track field, man. Any sports stadium, like, it'd be just smelling like pee everywhere.
I mean, I don't know why it would necessarily smell like pee.
I don't know. It would be worse if it was like smelling like pee everywhere, or if like the entire earth was covered in flames and the ocean dried up and everyone was dead.
I would say the latter.
Really?
Yeah, that'd probably be worse.
So you think...
Your body also produces stress sweat from apocrine glands. These are found in the largest concentrations in your armpit, chest, and groin area. They're also glands responsible for your body odor, in parentheses, BO. Food and exercise also affect your sweat. What you eat and the intensity of your workouts can also affect how much you sweat and how much salt is in your sweat. The more salt you eat, the saltier your sweat tastes.
Whoa!
Holy crap, Ryan. We're learning up a storm here on People Also Search For. Your body needs to get rid of all the salt somehow. Sweat is your body's foremost process of salt removal so that it can maintain a healthy weight and blood pressure. If you do eat too much salt, like we were talking about at the beginning, like some of it you'll just sweat out because you feel like you're having a stroke and you just sweat a bunch of fucking nasty salt out of your pores.
Yeah. Although, like, I guess, like, smelling salty is not as bad as, like, smelling like urine. So there's that positive in that.
Yeah, nobody wants to smell like urine, man. The benefits of sweating.
Okay. The benefits of sweat. The benefits of sweating. Sweat isn't always comfortable, especially if you're sweating buckets before an important meeting or during a hot, stuffy commute. But sweating has numerous benefits, including clearing your skin pores of dirt, bacteria, and other substances that may be clogging your pores, cleansing bacteria building up your skin by binding microbes to the compounds in sweat called glycoproteins, and washing them off your skin, not the skin off your skin, also known by the cool term microbial adhesion. All right, you also got lowering your risk of developing kidney stones, removing toxic heavy metals, removing toxic chemicals, and, that's all you got. That's all you get. That's all you get is those things. But you have some downsides of sweating, which,
of course,
if there's something good, which is, it's cooling your body off after a nice workout, there's got to be some downsides of it, But sweating can also have downsides. Here are some more bothersome symptoms of sweating that may result from dietary lifestyle choices or an underlying condition. Ah, this is where it gets weird. These are like the different ways your sweat can be.
Yeah, acidic, stinky.
There's actually a term called stinky sweat.
Well, these are just the different conditions from sweating. See, and then you also have stinging, salty sweat.
It's like painful.
Which means you've been consuming too much salt. Fish smelling sweat or urine, often a sign of trimethylaminuria. Trimethylaminuria. This happens when your body can't break down the compound trimethylene, so it's released directly into your sweat, resulting in fishy over. So, you're fish smelling sweat or urine. So
now just try and do that for like an entire hour.
No, Ryan, no.
Understand what it's like.
I don't have to because I didn't lose the fucking dumb rock paper
Rochambeau.
scissors. Yeah, you did.
Yeah,
You
Rochambeau
fucking
let me down.
And sweating.
Sweating.
Swessive or hyperhydro. I'm sorry, everyone.
We sure have an sweating podcast for you today.
Excessive sweating, known as hyperhidrosis, is a condition that means you sweat a lot. And I think I have that, Ryan.
Yeah?
I sweat a lot.
You do? When you're nervous or just all the time?
Not all the time, but if I'm doing anything physical, I sweat a lot.
Do you think you could gather enough sweat to fill up maybe a cup?
I don't know. I know that I feel like I'm, dripping sweat when other people that are doing the same thing are not.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Also, sometimes my hands get a little sweaty, especially when I'm enjoying an intense video game, maybe.
Do you
put down that controller and my hands are all slippery and slick with sweat?
Do you drink a lot of liquid so you have a lot to excrete?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter if you drink a lot or
no. It doesn't matter if I drink a lot.
Where does the sweat come from then?
From my
I would
body.
think you would run out eventually.
Well, no, then you just get. I mean, yeah, you'd could
be dehydrated.
Yeah, exactly. So I could just get dehydrated way easier.
So if you sweat a lot, if you have that condition, then you have to drink more water to fill back up your tanks.
Yeah, and I do.
Dang, that's I wonder if it's similar to the people that have a small bladder. Does your body just hold on to less water, so it leaves your body sooner, kind of
I guess so.
It just can't hold on to it as long. That's interesting. I don't know if that's how it works, but if it is. But all I know is just because you're sweating a lot doesn't mean that you're losing any more salt than the rest of us.
No, probably not. I doubt it. I'm sure I eat plenty enough salty snacks that I'm not low on salt. Plus, I don't ever get dizzy or seizures or whatever. So I think I'm good.
Let's say that I need to know this before we head on out of here. It's we've been talking about so much salt, but we need to know what's the saltiest snack.
That's a good final question to ask the old internet.
It's my favorite part of salt, and I need to know what the best what the saltiest snack is. Oh, of course, it's the same.
It's the AHA's 6 top. Those aren't really snack. I mean, I guess a sandwich is a snack. You can go to Men's Health and see the 10 saltiest foods.
What's the top saltiest snack? Stupid AHA. They've destroyed the SEO results. Okay, we'll just do the 10 saltiest foods from Men's Health. Because number 1 is the saltiest
breads
food.
And rolls. Deli meat. This is the same exact thing. And poultry was also on there.
Except we have these ones, which are the ones I would think are the saltiest ones. Salty snacks, pretzels, chips, popcorn, meat dishes, pasta dishes, and cheese. But I just want to know what's America's salt snack? What's the top snack?
What is? I don't understand. Like, what you're not.
What's the most popular salty snack in America? The 25 most popular snacks in America. No, I want like salt snacks though.
That's pretty specific.
Like, it's kind of like asking what's America's favorite potato chip, because those are like the saltiest snack.
Mine's Sun Chips.
I don't know. My Sun Chips are good.
That's the only chips I really like. I'll like a kettle chip once in a while.
Really? America's favorite chip is Ruffles? Ruffles cheddar and sour cream? I mean, really?
Is that offensive to you?
I just would never have guessed that. Like, that the saltiest, like the number one chip, and it's maybe not the saltiest, but it's in the salty food category. The number one is Ruffles.
Cool. I'm glad it's not Lay's, because Lay's fucking suck.
Yeah, like original Lay's are not that good. But I would think like Doritos would be more popular than Ruffles. Like, I don't know. I
my favorite is like kettle chips, but that's after Sun Chips. So
yeah, kettle chips are good, and
gotta have that crunch. That's why I don't like Lay's.
Kettle corn is good, and that's salty and sweet.
Yeah,
I could use me some kettle corn right now. If I had to pick a snack for the moment, and my number one, it would be kettle corn in this very moment. But I like a lot of snacks, and we could have an entire show on snacks.
Oh, and maybe we will. Maybe not next time, but
we will, I think.
But for now, it seems like we had a thorough search of salt, and
yeah, I understand it a lot better. I didn't know that they were huge mines.
Oh, well, now you do.
Now everyone else in the world does.
Thanks to People Also Search For.
The People Also Search For podcast. Sponsored by People Also Search For. Ryan and Jacob.
Yeah.
And Stamps.com.